Hey guys, it's Roman at CarTips. In this video I'll be showing you how to prepare a car for paint. This vehicle has been rattle canned, spray painted by the owner, and he didn't like his result, so I'm going to be fixing it. So before I do any kind of sanding, I'm going to mask off the areas that I don't want to scuff. This includes moldings, trim, and plastic. Next, you grab a sander and sand the car with 240 grit sandpaper. If you don't have a sander, you can do this by hand. So now what you do is you sand down the spray-on paint and you feather out the edges, making sure that you have a smooth finish and a good transition from one paint surface to the other. So now you mask up the vehicle and you prime it. So after the primer is fully cured, you're going to go ahead and mask off the edges once again that you're going to be sanding, and then you're going to grab a 240 grit sandpaper. Once again, you could do this by hand. I use a sander because it's faster. 240 grit, and you sand down the primer, the area where you primed. Next, you grab a sanding pad, a soft sanding pad, flexible, and you grab 400 grit sandpaper and you sand down the area, making sure that it's really smooth and in the edges where the sander can't get it. After you've blended the edges, other words known as feathering, feather the edges, it should look like this. Now for the fine sanding, I like to wet sand. First I grab a Scotch-Brite pad and then I just kind of scuff down the edges just to get rid of all the dirt and all the gunk that's in the jams and the little holes. Making sure that before I sand, with a finer grit sandpaper, that there's no debris or rocks anywhere on the surface. You want to make sure to get deep inside the edges and sand and scuff down in there so the paint doesn't flake off if it's not been sanded there. You want to make sure to get every single part. So after quickly rinsing the vehicle, grab the 600 grit wet sandpaper and I sand once again the primer area that I've sprayed on, just around the area. This step minimizes the deeper scratches that were made by the 240 grit sandpaper earlier. Now grab the 1500 grit wet sandpaper and sand the complete area that you're going to paint. This is the blending sand. You won't be spraying base coat paint in these areas. This is where the clear falls only. So when you paint the primered area and kind of a little further feathered out to the edges, kind of blend it, and then the area around the primer is where you put the clear coat. And that's how to prep a vehicle for paint.